All right, it's recording. Here we go. 7G. 7G is called formulas and relationships. There are only 2 skills you need to learn today. Number 1, know what the word formula and making the subject means. Okay, so that's one of the things I'm going to try to explain. Number 2 is that even if you don't know what a formula and a subject is, then you know how to apply for a formula. Most people know how to do this one. So skill number 2, most students will do. This one you just need to listen to me and you'll be able to pick it up. Okay? Here we go. A formula is an equation containing 2 or more variables. What is a variable? Think of it as a letter. So right underneath, write letter to help you understand what a variable is. So a rule or a formula is an equation, which means it has an equal signs, and it has 2 or more letters. One of which is the subject of the equation. Now that is the line that a lot of students don't yet understand. That's okay. All they're trying to say is when you say something is the subject, it means the letter or the variable is by itself. This is called the subject. Okay, so the subject is what are you focused on? What are you trying to find? So in this formula here, A equals L times W, that is actually the formula for, what is it again? Anyone know? Length times width, area of? Rectangle. So we normally say area of a rectangle is equal to whatever the length is times the width. But we're too lazy to write area equals length times width. So we say A equals L times W. This is called a formula, right? A is the subject because that's the one I'm looking for. What if I switched it around? Back in primary school, if this is L and this is W, so length and width, if I asked you to find the perimeter, what was the formula for the perimeter? Can I please have, let's go with Jacob. How do I find the perimeter of this rectangle?
Length plus.
Okay, so length plus width. So perimeter is the round shape. So length plus width?
Times 2.
Times 2 because you got double of them. So length plus W plus length plus W should give me the perimeter of the shape, right? So let's write it down. Here we go. Length plus W plus length plus W, and Jacob said times 2. Well, he's right, because I've got 2 groups of L's and I've got 2 groups of W's. That is why we can simplify this from chapter 5. We can say it is 2L plus 2W. So if I ask you now, this is a formula. What is the subject for this formula? What's the subject? Perimeter. Perimeter is the subject. You see that? So subject is the letter by itself. It's what you're focused and what you're trying to find. So if I wrote a formula for the perimeter, it would look like this. P equals to 2L plus 2W. This is the subject. So remember the first point I want you to learn today is to know what is the difference between formula and then what is the subject. Formula, notice 2 or more letters. That's true. I've got 2 or more letters here. I've got 2 or more letters over here too. A was the subject. P was the subject. Here's a couple of more examples so that you can see the pattern. Here we go. Y equals mx plus c. For those who have already done chapter 5 and chapter 7, I would have moved you on to chapter 9 and you would have done this equation. Out of curiosity, anyone know what rule or formula this is for? Carissa? You don't need to know it yet. This is the linear equation, which you will learn next year in year 9, and this is what I mean. This is when students stop. They literally quit. Term 3 next year, they start learning linear equations and quadratic equations. If you don't know B, C, D, E, you get locked out. Yeah? Next one. What about this formula? V equals A times H. Anyone know what V might stand for? Volume. This is the volume formula, where it's the area of the cross section times the height, which you might know as length times width gives you an area, and then you times by the depth or height. So length times width times height, that's the volume formula for a rectangular prism. P, we know it's perimeter, and E, well, that's Einstein's formula, energy. But what I want you to see there is, what's the subject for each one? The subject for the first equation was Y. The subject for the second equation was V. The subject for the third equation was P. And then the subject for the last equation was E. All of this is called the subject. So when they give you a question and they say, make this the subject, what they want you to do is to write an equation so that that letter that they're asking is the one outside the equal signs by itself. That's all it is. Here's an example. Before we do, let's fill in the blanks here. The subject of an equation is a variable or pronumeral, which is a letter, for those who don't know what variable is, that occurs by itself on one side of the equation. Here's an example of a question they might give you, and they ask to make it the subject. So, let's do something easy. Let's do x is a number, and I add 3, and I add y is another number, equals 7. Okay? If they ask you to make x the subject, what does that mean? What do they want you to do? So this is my rule. Here's my formula. What do they want you to do if they say make x the subject? What does that mean? You might want to have a go. Eknor? Yes. Okay. If any of you were sort of thinking it, and this is what you were thinking, then pat yourselves on the back if you're correct. If you thought what they were trying to say is make x equals to something, if you had that idea but you didn't know how, that's what they're asking. Well done. Because that's all they're asking. So in this equation, I just want x on this side. I don't need the 3, I don't need the y next to the x. I just need the x. So how do I get rid of the 3 and how do I get rid of the y? That's where you do the opposites. So here we go. Let's start again. So I write again. X plus 3 plus y equals 7. Now how do I get rid of plus 3? What's the opposite of plus 3? Minus 3. But what do you do to one side? You do to the other. So 3 take away 3 cancels out. And what I end up with is I still have x. I still have plus y. But 7 take away 3 on the right. What does that give you? 4. Now we're almost there. The question said make x the subject. It didn't say make xy the subject. It said make x the subject. So I don't need this y. I don't want the plus y. So how do you get rid of plus y? Minus y. Very good. So here I'd say minus y on one side, but whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So minus y on the other side. Y take away y is 0, so it cancels out. Now I've got x by itself on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, I have 4 take away y. This is the formula, and x is the subject. You see what I mean there? So what they're doing there is they're practicing a couple of things here. Identifying what a formula is. I use the algebra that you've learned from 7B, C, D, E to rearrange the equation to make x the subject. So that's one of the hardest skills. I don't expect all of you to get there, especially if you haven't done 7B, C, D, E. Okay, but if you have, that method there should make a bit more sense. Okay, so x as the subject just means make x by itself. Okay? But for the rest of you, what can you definitely do in 7G? I am almost definite all of you can do this one. The second skill, so that was the first one. If that was hard, that's okay. The second one everyone can do. How do you apply a formula? This is how you do it. You already did it probably back at term 1 as well. You replace every letter with a number. So here we go. Let's say I gave you this formula, E equals mc squared. It says find the value of E if M is 2 and C is 3. Now, let's think about it. E equals 2. When you write an M next to a C, what does that mean? What's happening between them? They're timesing. So it's M times C squared. But don't we know what M is? What's M again? 2. It says M is 2 here. So that means this becomes 2 times, what was C? 3. So it should be 3 squared. This is called applying. So that's the second skill. Okay, so here we go. Let's work it out. BODMAS. Which one comes first? 3 times 2 or 3 squared? 3 squared. 3 squared is not 6. It's 9 because it means 3 times 3, not 3 times 2. So this is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And then 2 times 9 gives you... So E equals 18. This step here, that's the second skill. So in 7G, there's 2 skills for you to learn. 1, rearrange the equation, make it the subject. That's arguably the harder one. Applying is you're just replacing the letters with a number. So you're applying the formula. Okay? I want you to have a go with the next question. Can you use skill number 1? I want you to rearrange the equation so that P is the subject. Because right now, A is the subject. We don't want A to be the subject. We want P to be the subject. What do you do to just get P by itself? Very good. For those who thought about -8, because that's a +8, whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. 8 take away 8 is 0, so 8's cancel out. And on the left-hand side, you should then have A -8. There you go. P is the subject, because P is by itself. So you notice there's no other things next to it. It's just P is the subject. Whereas the previous line, A was the subject. Okay, so that's skill number 1, skill number 2. Does that make sense? For those who are game, you can have a go with example 2B. Okay, I'm going to give you, it's currently 2:24. Let's give you 2 minutes. I'm going to pause the video. Can you do 2B? Same thing, but a few more steps. So this revises 7B, C, D, E. I want you to make T the subject. So I want T by itself. I just want the letter T. At the end of the day, I just want T by itself. I don't want to see that 10, and I don't want to see that 2. So how do you get rid of it? Rearrange the equation to get T by itself. You got 2 minutes, see if you can get it. And then we'll do a problem-solving task together and we'll call it a day, which is on the back of the page. No, as in like you then have your day to do your work.
Yeah, I knew it. This is so easy, the actual task.
Very good.
No, let's be actual tasks at work.
I
I'm
don't
going to
think
get
we're
back to
going
you.
to ask the actual task.
It's very
I said 5D.
All right, let's check your answers. Can I get a show of hands who got this? Either you got this or you had T equals to D plus 10 over 2. Both is the same answer. Hands up if you got this. D plus 5?
Yeah.
Almost. So you just missed out on this bit. When you divide by 2, remember there's 2 terms here. So you have to divide both of them by 2. So you're right that 10 divided by 2 is 5, but you also need to divide this one by 2 as well. But that's good. So that means you subtracted 10, added 10 on both sides, and then you know to divide both sides by 2. Well done. That's a 2-step equation.
plus 5 equals T. Is that right?
Do you have a 2 plus 5 equals T?
Yeah.
Good. Very good. Excellent. So those are your 2 skills. One is to apply, one's to rearrange. When you're ready, flip over the page. We're going to do a problem-solving task together. So we're going to tie them all together. Both apply and rearrange. Here we go. Example 3. You've got a rectangle similar to the last problem before. Let's say length is L, so this is L centimeters. Width is W centimeters. They said determine the formula for the perimeter. Now we did this before, Jacob's answer before. What was Jacob's answer for the perimeter? P equals what? Can I please have Xavier? How do you find the perimeter of a rectangle again?
Length plus width plus height plus width.
Beautiful. Which this simplifies to L plus L is 2L and W plus W is 2W. Well done, Xavier. Now that we've got our rule, this is a formula.
I'm so good at this.
This is the formula and P is the subject. P is the subject. Now to answer the next question. Find the perimeter if L is 7. So if you know the length is 7 and the width is 4. Now you can use the formula. You can do it intuitively. You can draw out the rectangle and say length is 7, width is 4. You can add them all together to work out the perimeter. Or you can use the formula here. P equals, now when you write 2 next to an L, what does that mean again? 2 times length. Very good. And the length is 7. So it'll be 2 times length, which is 7, plus 2 times W. Now what's W? What's W equal to? 4. So put them together. 2 times 7. What's double of 7?
14.
14. 14 plus double of 4, which is 8. 14 plus 8. What's 14 plus 8? 22. So your perimeter will be 22 if your length was 7 and width was 4. That's your second skill to apply. Now this third one, this third skill is a bit tricky. Let's see if you can do it. Here we go. You've got the rule, perimeter equals 2L plus 2W. But you have, perimeter is 40. So P is 40. W is 3. So you don't have L. Shh. Listening? Eyes and ears towards the board. So this problem here, your job is to find the length. This is where you use the skills you've learned from 7B, C, D, E. So I got the perimeter is 40. I know that the width is 3. So if you draw a diagram just to visualize it, you don't know what the length is, but you know this is 3. So you got 3 and L. You know if you add all the sides together, it should add up to 40. So this is what we have. L plus L is 2L, and 3 plus 3 is double of 3, which gives you 6. So far, we're now up to this step. We've got 2 times something. So whatever the length is, you need to double it. Add 6. Now, I know you can figure it out intuitively, but it's not about intuition. We're trying to use algebra here. How do I find L again? What do I need to remove first using SAMDOP? What do you get rid of first? Very good. Look for subtraction or addition first. That's the first thing you look for. Opposite of plus 6? Minus 6. What if you do to one side? Do to the other. 6 take away 6 cancels out. 40 take away 6 is 34. Equals 2 times length because the 6's cancelled out. My goal is to find L. I don't want 2L. I don't need that 2 times. So how do I get rid of it, Attila? Divide. Very good. Divide by 2. But whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So opposite of times is divide. Opposite of plus is minus. So this is exercise 7B. If you haven't practiced it, this is exercise 7B. 2-step equation. So divide both sides. 2 divided by 2 is 1. What's half of 34? 17. So 34 divided by 2 is 17. 2 divided by 2 is 1, but 1 times L gives you L, because 1 times anything is itself. So the length must be 17 centimeters. Can I get a show of hands? Who was able to understand that? All right, not bad, not bad. Yeah, that's about 60, 70% of you. Well done. That's it for today. That is exercise 7G. Please work on exercise 7B, C, D, E.